Bliss is a short story by Katherine Mansfield, first published in 1918. Set in the early 20th century in a townhouse in London, the narrative is from the third-person perspective with free indirect speech, providing a glimpse into the protagonist, Bertha Young's desires and fears. Before discussing the important ideas of this short story, first a brief summary of Bliss. Bertha Young, a 30-year-old woman, is engulfed by a sense of absolute bliss as she prepares for a dinner party with friends. Despite being an adult, Bertha, coming home before the party, experiences moments where she wants to express her joy by running or take dancing steps. But she realizes societal constraints prevent her from behaving freely without being perceived as drunk and disorderly, feeling slightly annoyed. Upon returning home, Bertha inquires the maid about the arrival of the ordered fruit for the party and proceeds to arrange it in the dining room. As she looks in the mirror, she acknowledges that the feeling of bliss is intensifying, creating an anticipation of something divine to occur. While arranging the fruit with specific colors to match the room's decor, Bertha finds the result incredibly beautiful, causing laughter and a hint of hysteria. Rushing to the upstairs nursery, she interacts with her daughter, Little Bee, disapproving of the nurse's decision to let her play with a strange dog but refraining from expressing her concern. Bertha feeds Little Bee, experiencing the same bliss associated with thoughts of the upcoming dinner party. Contemplating the invited guests, fascinated with theater and interior design are the Mr. and Mrs. Norman Knight, the fashionable writer Eddie Warren, and the intriguing Pearl Fulton. Bertha notes how she had fallen in love with, as she always did fall in love with beautiful women who had something strange about them. She reflects on her attraction to Pearl and wonders about the depth of her character. Despite her husband Harry's jest about there being nothing behind Pearl's mysterious facade but a good stomach, Bertha fondly admires Harry's humor and appreciates this quality in him. As Bertha adds the final touches to the drawing room, she unexpectedly finds herself embracing a sofa cushion passionately while arranging it. Glancing out the window at her moonlit garden, she admires the pear tree's radiant white glow, considering it a symbol of her own life. Remarkably, the sky and tree colors unintentionally match her evening outfit. The sight of two crossing cats outside sends a shiver through her. Bertha, overwhelmed by happiness, snaps back to reality when the Knights arrive. Mrs. Knight comments on Bertha's vibrant dress. Eddie Warren shares an eerie encounter with a most sinister but timeless taxi driver, and Harry joins the gathering. Despite almost forgetting Pearl Fulton's absence, her arrival during dinner time completes the party. During dinner, they discuss theater, and Bertha is filled with tenderness for her decorative group of guests. The silver-clad Pearl captivates Bertha, fostering an unspoken connection. After dinner, they share a moment admiring the pear tree, Bertha considering this as the sign and reinforcing their understanding. They rejoin the others and Harry offers Pearl a cigar. Bertha perceives Harry's demeanor as a sign of dislike toward Pearl. Bertha panics at anticipating being alone with her husband after the guests depart, acknowledging their lack of a sexual relationship. Strangely, she experiences a desire for him for the first time that evening, somewhat easing her fear. As the guests prepare to leave, Pearl heads to the hall for her coat, and Harry follows. Bertha, grateful, interprets this as Harry repenting his rudeness to Pearl. While fetching a book for Eddie Warren, Bertha glimpses Harry and Pearl in the hall, arms around each other, discussing a future secret tryst. Before Pearl and Eddie leave, Pearl whispers about your lovely pear tree as a goodbye to Bertha. As Harry locks up, Bertha hurries to the window, pondering, what is going to happen now? Bliss adopts a modernist style, evident in its emphasis on aesthetics and external appearances. Bertha focuses on making things beautiful as a means to express her sense of bliss, although this might be initially perceived as shallow. The narrative dives into the theme of performance, with Bertha attempting to communicate her emotions through her outward presentation. However, events at the dinner party contradict Bertha's assumptions about others' motives, revealing hidden affairs, disloyalty, and infidelity. Mansfield challenges the notion that appearances reflect reality, emphasizing the deceptive nature of outward presentations. Although aware that it was rather far-fetched and absurd, Bertha picks out fruits based on color and texture rather than taste for the dinner party. She becomes excited over how the fruit matches the room's decor. Despite Bertha's genuine bliss, her repeated affirmations hint at underlying desperation and hysteria. She associates the pear tree with her white dress and a string of jade beads. The decorative group of modern, Thrilling friends engage in performances, with conversations revolving around theater and superficiality. The revelation of infidelity disrupts Bertha's certainty about others' feelings, emphasizing the tension between her desire for honesty and the concealment of true emotions beneath societal expectations. Bertha's experience of Bliss stems from her attraction to Pearl Fulton, revealing an interplay of sexuality and societal norms. Despite being married, Bertha appears sexually inexperienced and has never desired her husband, Harry. The night of the dinner party, where Pearl is present, marks the first instance of Bertha feeling a sexual attraction to her husband. The narrative, set in the early 20th century, navigates the challenges of discussing and portraying homosexuality within the constraints of legal and social taboos. Bertha's desire for Pearl is subtly depicted, emphasizing the repressive nature of societal norms that compel individuals to conceal their true emotions. While the story doesn't explicitly sexualize Bertha's attraction to Pearl, her lack of desire for Harry and possessiveness toward Pearl hint at a suppressed homosexuality. The moon, associated with femininity, bathes the night of the dinner party in silvery light, intensifies emotions. Pearl, linked to natural beauty, shares a moment with Bertha under the moonlit pear tree, caught in the circle of unearthly light, symbolizing openness to new possibilities, including homosexuality. However, Bertha's lack of a societal frame of reference renders her desires mysterious and unexplained, highlighting the denial and repression of homosexual feelings in Edwardian idiotic civilization. The pear tree symbolizes a forbidden desire, mirroring the biblical story of Adam and Eve's forbidden fruit. Despite Bertha's upper-middle-class status, the pear tree remains tantalizingly out of reach, reflecting the societal challenges she would face if openly expressing her homosexuality. The pear tree in the story carries nuanced connotations and symbolism. Unlike the apple tree linked to Eve and the fall of man in Genesis, which revolves around knowledge, the pear tree in Bliss intertwines themes of sexual allure with broader notions of sin and forbidden wisdom. Specifically, it symbolizes Bertha's attraction to Pearl Fulton and serves as a metaphor for concealed desire throughout the narrative. Thus, the use of a tree as a desire symbol draws parallels with the tree of life in the Garden of Eden, where Adam and Eve defy divine prohibition to gain knowledge. In contrast, Bertha seems to suppress her awareness of her genuine emotions, particularly her love for Pearl. Bertha associates the pear tree with a sense of bliss as she readies for the party, viewing it as a symbol of her own life and an emblem of potential change with its wide-open blossoms if she breaks societal norms to acknowledge her romantic feelings for Pearl. The tree mirrors Bertha's emotional state, its moonlit hues mirroring her chosen attire for the evening. Positioned outside, separated by a window, the tree reflects a sexual desire beyond heteronormative domesticity and stodgy upper-middle-class conformism. During the dinner, as Bertha and Pearl gaze at the slender, flowering tree together through the window, the moment signifies an unspoken connection and an understanding, with Bertha perceiving the tree as a blazing flame of a candle in the moonlight, symbolizing the intensity of her desire as the blissful treasure that burned in their bosoms.